Yeah, it's a good question, and this is the first proper one of these ones I've done. So
Okay.
this is me
It's
on the
still,
back foot
yeah,
now,
yeah,
having
yeah,
to
yeah.
answer your questions in real time. Our first session with Laila was also our first life coaching session on the Life Coaching Show. This second session is in fact the second half of a single recording. We just cut the recording in half. You get it, 2 for the price of 1. In the last session, we discovered that 3 weeks previously, Laila had stopped working at the marketing firm she worked for in order to pursue her desired career of freelance marketing, with the possibility of developing that into a marketing agency. She wants to be her own boss, with the ability to travel and to earn enough to have comfort and freedom, but isn't desperate to be super rich at the expense of enjoying her life. We also discovered that Laila's strengths and weaknesses might be more related to how engaged she is with the project and the circumstances she is working in than the specific tasks themselves. She also opened up about something many of us can relate to: holding back because of the fear of what others might think. It's a quiet but powerful force that can keep us stuck and is more common than we often admit. Let's watch the second session. So do you have a name so are you a sole trader at the moment?
Essentially, yeah.
Do you have a name for it, or
No,
because
no.
you're
I
a sole
mean, it's
trader?
just me. I haven't got like yeah, I haven't got an official name or
Okay.
anything. No, it's just
So
offering my
we can
own.
just call it the marketing company for now, because
Yeah.
yeah. Um, does do you have any? Have you managed to have any regular clients, or are you not at that stage?
Um, there is one actually that comes back. But other than that, no. Yeah, because as I said, it's quite kind of early in the sense of, I mean, I've got like contacts that, I've done one-off things for and people that I guess have like just reached out to me for content, but again, it's not like an ongoing thing. There is one though that like I would say is regular, I've done quite a few bits of content for. So
Do you have a website or a websites for
no, no,
old
at the moment
people?
it's just very much like I promote myself through like my socials or like for my portfolio. So yeah, it's still an ongoing thing. Like it's very kind of obviously, because I was working for this marketing agency until very recently. So um it's still something I'm working on and growing on, and like as well as obviously like with Mustard, and like I've got a few other agencies as well that I do modeling with, so like that's tying me over for the moment, in terms of, but like yeah, if we're looking at like long-term vision, then that is 100% something that I want to have. um but yeah, at the moment
Well,
it's just myself, like in the sense of it's just my name. Like it's not there's not an official name or like a website or like so much of an actual kind of company, say.
so when you say promoting yourself, do you say through socials?
Yes, yeah, just
Does
through
socials just mean social
social
media?
media, so like Instagram, TikTok, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I mean sometimes it's I do outreach, sometimes they contact me. It's kind of 50-50, I would say. um Built on like who I know, who, yeah, I guess the connections that I've made, that kind of stuff, as well as any opportunities that I see come up.
With your socials, what platforms are you on?
Instagram and TikTok predominantly.
And then do you just put posts up to say this is what you're doing now? If anyone wants business, like what does that look
Yeah,
like?
yeah. I mean, also like because I've got a portfolio with like all creative stuff on there, so they can also see that too. But yeah, I mean, they can like my Instagram is very mixed. It's kind of a bit of like content creation, but also like modeling, because I use it as like my modeling portfolio too. So that it going forward would be something I probably would need to like distinguish between. But as I said, it's all very like newish, because I've obviously only just stopped working at this agency like not that long ago, so it's an ongoing process basically.
And you did your degree was it marketing and something else?
Fashion marketing.
Fashion marketing. So does that mean specifically marketing fashion? Or does it mean
Technically,
fashion separately and marketing separately?
no. So like that's the thing. So the course was obviously very aimed around the fashion industry, but essentially they are principles that you can apply to any industry, like a lot. So I've got friends who did that course and then now are marketing or working for a car factory, say, or like it doesn't strictly mean, but I guess the concepts that we would learn about was related to fashion. But like fashion is very loose because it's like a way of life. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's fashionable. Like, so I think they were considering changing the name as well because it's just more like, applicable to like various industries, not just strictly fashion. But I mean, I took it because I enjoyed, I guess, the fashion, industry. I also like did textile, so I knew that like it was always an area that I wanted to kind of go into. But like fashion isn't just strictly clothes. Obviously, it can be anything like beauty, e-com. I mean, even as I said, like fashion is kind of like a way of life. It's what's trending at the moment. So, it can be even like food, hospitality, like I've touched upon that with my previous job. So I don't have a specific I mean, I suppose the clients that I kind of have attracted is more kind of hair and beauty, but there's no need for it to like just stop there. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many different departments and industries that it can be applied to.
When you were working at the marketing agency, did you find stuff from your course there was then a practical application for, or did you find that it was almost starting from scratch and it was like almost a different?
Almost, because like it's very, because with uni, the course I did, it was very theoretical. Like, you can understand the structure and the theories in place, but essentially you don't understand what's actually like until you're, working for them or on the job. So I do think it was a lot of, learning as I went. I mean, thankfully, I did social media beforehand anyway. So like I was familiar with that element. But I do think the best way of learning is to just that work experience, that experience in doing said job, and then that's kind of where you become more kind of confident and at it per se. Like I went to uni also because I just didn't know where I wanted to go straight after college. And also we had COVID, so that was another thing that I think made me think, oh, like what do I do now anyway? Like, it's locked down and everything. So I just I guess continued or like extended my educational time just to allow me a few more years to like really understand where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. And I still am figuring it out now, but like I did at least what I knew I enjoyed. So that's kind of like that was my thought process with that. So yeah, like because I don't think nowadays you need to go to uni for like this kind of job, really. Like it's, if anything, I think companies kind of value experience and stuff over a degree, depending on obviously where you're going into, but especially for this kind of like industry, that's what I've noticed anyway. Like it's more like, have you done like an internship? And I have, like that's kind of, I've done a few internships before, like from after finishing uni, and that's kind of then how it kind of, I guess, fell into place. Like yeah, having a degree helps, but I don't think that was like the sole reason. It's more like, what does this, how does this girl benefit us? Like what does she know? How can she like prove your not strengths, but prove your capabilities in other ways rather than just like it on a piece of paper saying, yeah, graduated in XYZ.
Your Instagram thing is about modeling, and now it's a little bit touching on this new marketing
Yeah.
venture. What's the TikTok? What's on that? What kind of
That
content?
is, again, kind of, I mean, a mixture of like content that I've made for brands. With also me featuring in there. Also some like personal, like kind of more relatable stuff as well. It's very varied. So it's not strictly kind of content creation. It's very kind of a bit of everything. Which is why I said like it's, you know, it's not like I've got an established brand or like a brand name that like I'm pushing. It's very much like, because with the good thing with content creation is as well is you don't have to necessarily be the forefront of what you're promoting. You can have like personal accounts as well as kind of, you know, more what's the word, professional ones. And
Well, so what do you mean on that?
so I guess what I'm trying like saying is like my TikTok is a mixture of that, but going forward I would want to like distinguish a bit, because like at the moment I've got like content that I've made, but I've also got a bit of modeling. I've also got a bit of my, you know, day-to-day things that I would do. Obviously it was relevant because I worked in social media, so like it all kind of ties in. But in terms of actually promoting my, like, you know, what I could offer in sense of content creation, it isn't quite there yet.
If so I'm not sure how these things work
Yeah,
exactly,
no, of
but
course.
if you started a new, let's just say TikTok channel or Instagram channel,
Yeah.
that was very specific to the services you did for marketing, could you say on your old one, look, I've got this new channel, if you're interested in this, go across to here as well?
Yeah.
Or is that?
No, you can do. Like some people prefer to keep their like other things personal, but like you can cross relate. Also like once having kind of like an identity or like say a brand name, then it's like, okay, this account is specifically for that. Whereas at the moment it's kind of like a bit of everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, as I said, like obviously, you know, because I've been working for this agency until now, like it's been a very recent thing of me doing this. Thankfully I do have, just through word of mouth or connections, clients that like I know and I can do content for, and as well as like model and things like that. But you know, it's by no means an established kind of, you know, thing that I've already got a brand name, a logo. Like it's nothing like that. It's more just like through connections and through networks and through people that I've potentially worked for previously, that kind of stuff. And like emails are also things that like, you know, can work as well, like in sense of if I see an opportunity, like if I see something advertised, I will send that or even if I've had their email in my inbox already, I can reach out to them again and just reintroduce myself and like show that this is my portfolio, this is what I can do. And then that's kind of where we can establish, you know, what kind of content I do for them, the rate, etc. So it's not just strictly like Instagram and TikTok as well. Like there's different methods around it.
So did you just say, so if you see a product, did you say you could potentially just email them cold and say, this is what I do, can I do it for your...
Sometimes I already have, like I've got so many kind of emails that I've got through various experiences. So sometimes I'll just reach out to them and be like, look, do you need any help with this? Or if there's a certain product that I think I can really work on, I'll pitch myself essentially, and show, you know, what I could do with like my creative strategy, I guess, around the content and like how I could benefit them. But yeah, so yeah, I guess as you said, it would be like a form of cold calling, but like a bit more strategically than just.
Do you have? Because I don't have. technically do have a TikTok and an Instagram under the Life Coaching Show, but I'm not even the one who knows how to access that stuff. But do you have online anything that just for my own curiosity I can look at that you've worked on just for funsies?
Yeah, I mean, I can show you kind of. Do you want me to send that to you? Or
Oh, if you've got a link, then yeah, that would be good. If you just email that in now, and I'll put it up on my.
So, well, I can show you like my creative portfolio as well, so you can get a gist of like the general things that I've done. Let me do that. Fine. Send it. Would you have it emailed or phone number?
Email. Email. Yeah.
So this is kind of what I guess I would send to a brand if like they reached out to me and things like that. But there's a lot of I've split it into like industry stuff that I've done whilst working for the agency, as well as then personal stuff, which has been like brands that I've done kind of like on freelance. And like I'm in a lot of them, but like there's also like content that they want of just the product, and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be kind of what I've made so far. So a lot of the stuff on there is a mixture of kind of work that I've done through the agency I work for, as well as like my own. To be fair, I've done other things since, so I need to update it, but like it's a rough overview of, examples of content, the examples of the brands and the clients. Obviously a lot of them do have my face in it, but like I've also got stuff without. So
This is where, so I say one of my weaknesses is people. So now we're starting to talk about nitty gritty of a plan. I'm like super excited and just want to drill you with questions in a way that'd be most unpleasant for you. So I'm trying to simmer down here. Okay. So, yeah, and I totally understand that it's extremely early days. So, yeah, there's no reason why you'd have thought all this stuff through at all yet. But so, is it the case that you would at some point, or you intend to have a dedicated Instagram and TikTok thing for the marketing company, or is this just, or you're not sure if that would be the next step in that direction?
I think because obviously I think at the moment I just still want to, like, when I say, I guess, doing this freelance, because like you don't need to necessarily have like a certain brand name or like, but in saying that, like, because you can just be yourself, have your own account that shows you and a bit of your work. But if I did want, say, an agency going forward, then that would be, or like my own business of some description, then that would have to obviously be something where I have like a name, a logo, like a website, and like have something more official. Because there's lots of people that I like, I've got some friends who kind of do similar things, and they kind of use their own kind of face and stuff as the promotional platform, as opposed to like calling it something else. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, so like, I'm still trying to figure out which direction I want to go, because it's almost like because sometimes you don't have to, it's weird, although you make content, you don't have to necessarily, that your socials should reflect that, but also don't have to necessarily only show that, because it's kind of like depending on where you want to take it. But yeah, I guess for me, like that would be something I want to work on going forward, would be, I guess, having a bit more of a brand identity and like, doing that. Yeah, I don't know if this is making any sense. I know I'm trying to like think about myself as I'm telling you. But because as I said, it's kind of early days. So like at the moment, I'm just very much, it doesn't look like it much, but I've got just people that are like small industries, small brands that I know that will happily work with me because they know me or I've done things for them before. Or so it's kind of that's the kind of thing at the moment, rather than like, okay, I'm a solid established, not even established, but like, I've got a logo, a brand, a name. Let's push that. So yeah.
Do you think because what you were saying earlier about almost, I'm probably going to phrase it wrong here, but not wanting to go down a certain route or the other grass is greener, and second guessing which decisions which option you should take out of all the options. Do you think there might be any going forward? Obviously, it's early days yet, so it's not relevant now. But going forward, do you think there might be any psychological blocks to choosing a brand or a direction or a company name or anything like that? Because that's choosing a route.
Because obviously, it's the way that you're perceived. Like, you've got to think about even like something silly about like the colors that you use, or whether I want to be known as. It's almost like whether you want to promote yourself as well within the content creation or just the service. Because there is like, obviously, if you've got like, because some content creators would prefer to not be visible and not promote themselves, but like not hide behind, but like almost use the name, the logo, whatever that they create as them. Whereas I guess because also I model, I'm trying to do a bit of both, in the sense that I'm like, my face, like at the moment it's just my neck, like I'm just Laila Mocha, because that is, I'm trying to cover both bases, I guess. I don't know, I guess that's kind of where my thought process is that now is. But yeah, like I think it probably could, going back to your point, the indecisiveness again, I think could, definitely get in the way, or like become an issue, I guess, on like in terms of which direction I want to go into. But also it's valid to see then what happens and like what kind of traction it gets, and kind of really see who, or like what kind of clients I'm like picking up on.
And did you say some of your friends have done a similar kind of thing?
Yeah. So I've got like a girl that I know who you literally wouldn't know what she looks like, because she very much has a brand name, like for example, her Instagram page is very, very strictly content, so you won't really see what she looks like. So, and that's what I mean, she's kind of promoting that element more, as to like, this is what I can film and make for your brand, but like without me being in it, essentially. Whereas I also know other girls who do, similar to me, do the content creation and can capture and like, get that done, but without having so much of a brand name, and it just being more off your own social account, and like based on like, okay, can this person film? Does this person have an aesthetic? Does she have an eye for this? That's kind of then what the client or like the small business then picks up on, and then like in turn asks. And obviously if you're doing like, try-ons for like various outfits or things that have got like, then naturally you're going to have to show your face in it, which is why I guess my Instagram does show what I look like, beyond just like the type of content that I could produce. So yeah, I think
Do those friends who are doing it, are they getting plenty of work, or are they struggling with it?
A bit of both. I think one girl, she does it full time but she's a bit like, she's had it for longer, like she's in her late 20s, like has had longer, I guess, to kind of grow up and build up to that point. So, and this is a girl who has a proper brand name, like is an official kind of social media agency, if that makes sense, as opposed to like just a freelance content creator. Let's say that. Whereas then I've got other friends who maybe are similar to me, don't have a lot, but like whether it being a new thing or even because like if they like have another job on the side, it's kind of like a side hustle. So there's lots of different like scenarios. And as I said, it's hard to, because there's so much competition out there now. Like there's so many different kind of creators who can kind of, you know, make content. So it's kind of like, how do you distinguish yourself versus them? And obviously sometimes it's just fluke, like it's who you know rather than what you know. But I do think, yeah, having some kind of identity probably does help. But in saying that, then there's also girls I know who don't have a strict identity, or like they just use, it's just them, like their Instagram is just their face, and they still manage to get lots of these, you know, either whether it's collaborations or like what jobs through doing content. So it's very varied, to be honest.
On the link you kindly sent me, is there any videos I can look at, or is it just
There should be
stills?
videos on there. Because they should, so like say if you look at page 4, if you click, there should be like a play button. So this is for Olaplex, which is a hair brand, and I filmed and made all these videos.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this thing now.
And like then that's a screenshot of their like TikTok, so like how like then they've like used it. And then I've also like got some hospitality and restaurant stuff on here too, jewelry. It's very varied, to be honest. Been exposed to quite a few things.
Is it the word? Is it eclectic? Is that a word? Collection of all sorts of different things.
Not
Might
sure.
be saying
I've
that
never
wrong.
heard of it.
Just made up in my head. It'll like, initial feeling is any kind of plan would need to take into account trying different things and seeing what's fits.
I think,
because I feel like he wouldn't be satisfied at this stage with just saying like, boom, we're going down that.
I think you've caught me at a time where I'm like kind of obviously in a limbo of like, because I've just obviously finished working there, and now I'm like, it made me realize I kind of want to take my own path on it, but it's very early days, and that's why I'm like, this is something that needs obviously, you know, growing on and like it's expanding on. But I do manage to kind of get, you know, jobs here and there, but like again, it's not consistent. Similar to modeling, to be honest. It's very kind of like hit and miss. Well, not hit and miss, but kind of just
Sporadic.
Sporadic, yes, that would be the right word.
That's the real word.
Sporadic.
Getting there, the vocabulary.
Yes. So that's why I'm also considering, alongside doing this, like getting some kind of permanent, or not permanent, but like stable job that allows me to kind of, you know that I'm going to be earning X amount each month, and then this is just like an ongoing thing that I'm building on. And then once it gets to a point where I'm happy with, you know, I can really kind of put all my efforts into it.
With the competition element in terms of, because you said there's quite a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. Do you have in your mind at the moment what might set you apart, or what your USP thing is, or have you had any thoughts on that kind of area?
I think it depends. I guess like I think in terms of if you're thinking about if it's content that needs a certain look, that's obviously one thing. But in terms of, I guess, the filming and like because I've done a bit of everything, I don't have like a niche or like a certain area that I think, as you said, like USP that like would really distinguish me between someone else necessarily. But it's similar to like modeling. Like if you fit the brief, or if they think that you work and do things in a certain way that suits the brand, great. But if not, they'll look elsewhere. So it's kind of one of those things. As I said, I'd say I do tend to do more kind of like beauty and like hair care stuff as opposed to, I guess maybe kind of like food, hospitality, that kind of industry. But because that's just what I know and that's what I'm more confident in filming. But in terms of like a unique selling point, again, it's still something that like I think I'm working on, or like need to kind of figure out exactly what that would be.
Do you know what kind of, so you're thinking of maybe a part-time job, a stable part-time job for the time being?
Yeah, I mean, if it's something related to like social media, content creation, marketing, amazing. I mean, I've even considered something like admin based or even like retail, like sales associate based, just because I've had experience in that. Like I worked in like a store last year in London. They're called Fiorucci. They don't exist in like the store's now closed. But been doing kind of like, yeah, um, like a sales associate, like client advisory, that kind of stuff. Um, just to, and also I think it's great for like the social element. And you just never know who you meet. Like it's almost like a networking opportunity. Because I think when you work, in content creation and for yourself or even freelance, it can be quite limiting. Not limiting, but like you're not making those interactions that you would make in a big corporation. So that's another thing that like I think it's important. Um, so yeah, I think any of those kind of jobs, so like sales associate, anything like admin related, social media marketing, anything that kind of I feel like I've had experience in and I've done before. Because like essentially that's kind of what my CV is about. It's very social media heavy, my CV. But as I said, like I've had experience in, customer relations and those kind of things. So there wouldn't be a reason why I couldn't go back into that if I wanted to.
How did your last job, how did the schedule work around modeling stuff? Because modeling's at random days, isn't it?
Yeah. So it worked. So in the sense of if, say, I had a work from home day, I could do it. But or if like, I got told a few weeks in advance that there was a job coming up, I could book the day off or work around it. And even my weekends, I sometimes would model. I did have to turn a few jobs down because my work had other priorities. If there was a shoot I had to attend with my current, my company, the marketing agency, then I would have had to like obviously, prioritize that over a modeling job. So it was very kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, like fitting things around, which is a kind of like why I wouldn't mind a bit of flexibility and something that allows me to model a bit more regularly, but also get that kind of regular income, or like get that kind of stability too. It's a very difficult one, like, because unless modeling's really like popping off, like you're getting constantly booked, it's something you can't really rely on. So I basically just did it as and when I could. Basically, any time that was like, you know, I had an opportunity to, and it worked, great. I had to turn down a few opportunities because I just physically couldn't take the day off, or there was a reason. Otherwise, then I just didn't do it, basically. Because obviously, you know, in working for a corporation, you need to kind of. Also, we were such a small team, so it meant that they really like needed the staff that we had. So that was another thing as well. Like, there wasn't necessarily anyone that could pick up your shift. Obviously, you can take days off and things like that, but if it was last minute, it was difficult, and a lot of things came through last minute too. Like, it was great if I could forward plan it, then I could like definitely find ways around it. But if it was like the day before, oh, you know, this client is interested in you for this job, it'd be very hard to do in that kind of industry, in that kind of corporate setting.
If you with this new venture, presumably if say someone came to you and said, oh, I want you to make an advert for this product, it wouldn't necessarily matter what country you were in.
No.
So you could presumably use whatever was around you.
Yeah. As long as you have a good camera, good lighting, and you know, a good background, some in the sense of like, you know, if sometimes actually they may even want, they'll be looking for someone who is in a specific location. It just depends, but typically it's good just to have like, you know, a plain wall, good lighting, good phone, and then that's it really, like, and some kind of creative freedom, and then just go from there. So that's why I'm saying, like, yeah, it's quite a good thing to be able to do, because then you can travel and film alongside that. But some people, like, even like if you need to like set up, I guess, a little studio set up, sometimes that can be done. And I like to sometimes get together with like, I guess, friends or girls I know who do similar things, and then we can kind of work together on a brief or like help each other out. So yeah, that's another thing. But really all you need is, yeah, as I said, the correct equipment and the correct lighting, and then you're good.
Do you know why, and you might have already mentioned this, but do you know, so you talked about potentially in at some point in the future having a team underneath you or a team working with you on the business. Do you know why you might want a team as opposed to just being on yourself?
I guess because in my head that means that, like, you know, the work you've built up a good network of clients, and it's almost too much work to do for yourself, so then you have to expand. So that's kind of why I say that, is because it's like you've reached a point of, wow, like this is actually really grown. It's too much for me to kind of cope with, or not cope with, but deal with solely on my own. Let's see, you know, and also like the budget would then have to, you know, counter in these extra people as well. So, and also, as I said, I think I am kind of like a social person, so I wouldn't mind having kind of like someone to work with rather than it just being like solely on my own. So yeah, that's I guess my answer to that.
Do you ever read books like business books, or not massively?
Not massively. I'm not a massive reader. I'm more of like a visual or like kinetic kind of learner, if that makes sense. So, but I do need to like start listening to a few like podcasts and stuff, and like I've told myself I need to get into like that a bit more. So I think that's like an easier way for me to like absorb the information is through like audio and visual than opposed to like reading.
Do you ever do like audio books?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't mind audiobooks. So this is what I mean. Yeah, I think I'm more that kind of learner.
Do you have Audible?
I don't have Audible now. I just listen to things on well, so on Spotify, like there's certain things that you can I mean, to be fair, when I say I've listened to like audiobooks a few times, like, but it's like I don't do it as like a regular thing. So yeah, but yeah, you can listen to audiobooks on Spotify, so that's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
If any, but I don't have Audible, no. Just because I don't know.
It's not your thing.
It's not my thing. Yeah, I'm more of like I'd love to like because be that person that like reads and really gets into kind of, but I don't know. I just think I'd rather see something and witness it happen than like. And don't get me wrong, like I have got into if I'm on holiday and I've got absolutely like nothing else on my mind, I can happily put out a book and just relax and like read. But when I'm kind of busy and like constantly thinking of new ideas and constantly thinking of, I'd rather just like research it myself or do, I don't know, find that kind of creativity in other ways. And that's the thing, a lot of the time, a lot of the information that I learn and absorb does come from like social media and like even just scrolling on TikTok, like you can learn so much. So that's kind of the way that I've kind of realized that it works for me.
So I guess where I'm at in this moment is I guess my brain is kind of full. There's a bunch of stuff I'd want to do processing on. So I might say that we wind down this chat in a few minutes. And where we'd go from here is basically after this, I'll go through the content and then I'll reach out and email you to see if you want to do some kind of thing like this going forward on a regular basis. Obviously, from my perspective, it's quite the timing wise, it's quite exciting in terms of you're just starting a new venture. And one of the things I'm always looking for is to work to help people come up with their goals and their plans and all that kind of stuff, but also to have things where we record how it's going. So record steps that are done and record progress. So for example, if you have financial objectives, we record how well that's going every month, that kind of thing. So from my perspective, it's good timing. Obviously, I'll send you an email, and if it's something you're interested in, then you can just get back to me on the email. But yes.
No, I was just going to say, roughly, like, I guess you need to obviously, look through this and like formulate the footage and stuff like that. Like, will that be something that not I get shown, but like obviously the points that you then pick up on, will that be relayed back to me, or how does it then work?
Yeah, it's a good question, and this is the first proper one of these ones I've done. So
okay.
this is me on the back foot now, having to answer your questions in real time. So nothing will go out without you having the opportunity of seeing it.
Okay.
where we don't want to get is you being like, no, I wasn't happy with that. We don't want to antagonize anyone at all. So the next stage is one of the people who works with me will do a bunch of very basic, boring editing because the sound will need a whole bunch of stuff done to it. Yeah, that will need to be chopped up, and it's a slow and painstaking task. And then I'll watch it, and then I'll work out how to play it from there. But I suspect what we'll do is I'll be working on that document, and I'll send you a link to the video, which is a private link. And then you can watch it and let me know what you think. But I guess there's any conclusion. So obviously I'll be working on that document. So one of the things, if people wanted to use me as a life coach and only have one session, then what they would get out of it is that document that I'm going to be sending across to you. And any conclusions to that, if we do more sessions, and I'll talk that through with you. And if we don't, then I'll probably just make a standalone video and throw that on. But I'm just spitballing here. I don't actually know.
Yeah, of course. That's absolutely fine.
The number one point is, yeah, you'll get the chance to see it, and anything you're not happy with can be.
Okay. Well, to my knowledge, I don't think I've said anything that I would want. Like, like I'm pretty sure. I would have picked up on it already if I said, "Oh no, I shouldn't have said that."
So before these videos, I did some videos where I was chatting to people in their 20s, and we're talking about challenges people face in their 20s. So it's like the story arc. Firstly, what are the standard kind of problems? Then this is like how you get into the nitty gritty and solve those problems with an individual. But yeah, one of them accidentally and then asked me to delete it was kind of slating one of her main providers of work about the product they were advertising, and then she suddenly realised, yeah, it's like none of that part could go in.
I mean, I haven't said any names, so I think I should.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And what about your name? Are we able to use?
Yeah, you can say my name.
Your name?
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, my name's fine.
Yeah. So the other thing is timescale, because so one of the other businesses I run, I've been trying to get it like super running itself so I can be full-time on this, but it keeps clawing me back in, but hopefully I'll be released. But anyway, this week I'm going to be super busy, so
no worries.
There might not be much action this week. I'll fit it in as and when. But yeah, to answer your question, not really sure what exactly happens next, other than I'll look at the footage, send you a link, and then send you an email if you want to do sessions. And then if we did do more sessions, the next one would be it would be focusing on purpose and seeing how that would maybe alter the direction of the plan and the steps. So depending on the purpose, because I know we've talked about whether you'd be like solo to start with or have the whole specific brand. And it might be that if we talk about purpose and we drill into that might just answer that question for you. Or it might show you that neither of those are the option. There's some third magic option C that we haven't really touched upon. So it's about plans and purposes is the likely next kind of steps.
Okay. Well, to be fair, this has been really insightful for me as well. Made me realise I really am indecisive, and there's too many options on where life can go.
Yeah. So I've just been so I do like research and studying all the time, but I've been reading a book written by someone in their 20s about people in their 20s, because I'm 45, so I'm like, it was long distance. That was a while ago. But yeah, they really talk a lot about the feeling of that making a decision now that affects your whole life. So it's almost tempting to just not make that decision because it might be wrong. And yeah, that's a real phenomenon. It
is. And it's like hard to kind of realize to stay on your path and like not get too influenced by like what other people are doing. Just stay true to yourself.
Right. Yeah. But, and I think that's the vague conclusion in this chapter of this book that I was reading, that kind of any path is better than no path. So that's
Exactly.
But yeah, it doesn't necessarily help people with that emotion in the moment. But yeah, that's where we are with that.
For sure.
Yes. So when we stop this, when I hang up, if you could just leave this browser up and leave the browser up and this web page up. Does yours say 99 or whatever % uploading somewhere on your screen?
No, it says 36% uploaded.
Okay. Yeah. So that will go up to 100%.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe even leave it a little while after that, and then it will all be good.
Okay, cool. No worries. That's fine.
Cool.
Sounds good. Okay, well, thanks for, having the chat this morning.
No, thank you very much for being my first guinea pig. Right. So yeah, it's
the first guinea pig. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been great. It's been interesting to made me reflect on a few things as well, actually. So.
Yeah, I was having to slightly hold myself back because I wanted to gun more questions. This is early days, Joe. Chill out. It's not this is not a business meeting. So it's been fun. So thank you very much.
That's all right. Well, have a good rest of your week.
And you.
And we'll stay in touch.
Cool. I'll email you fairly shortly.
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
Bye, Joe. Take care. Bye.
This is the end of our second session. We did end up agreeing to work together, which means there's another 6 sessions booked in, each one 2 weeks apart. So I guess we're all going to be back here in 2 weeks doing it all again. See you real soon. I don't know what these white bits are down the edge of the screen. Dirty camera or dirty teleprompter? I don't know.